Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Mandy coming to us all the way from Kansas City, where, it's a little bit warmer than it is here. And, I'm not going to talk the weather too much because it depresses me too much, especially around this time of year. But yeah, she's on here to share really her health and fitness journey and discuss all things health and fitness. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Mandy, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to kind of talk with you today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not even going to get into the weather like I said before. So why don't we just to start things off? Why don't you give us your backstory on how you got into shape and how that led to where you're currently at right now?
Yeah, so I am 33. I have a son who will be 13 this year. And I grew up playing club soccer. So I always grew up as a teenager and like a young kid playing soccer. My brother, I kind of always competed with him. But, I went through that like rebellious teen phase and I quit soccer. I quit sports. I wanted to be like a cute little size zero blonde with like perfect body. And I was not that. I was thick. So it wasn't until like I had my son when I was 20 that I gained all this weight like through being pregnant. I was 200 pounds when I was pregnant. After I gave birth, I like still was really heavy and nobody around me like worked out. Nobody knew anything about like really health and fitness. And so when I started talking to people like, hey, my back hurts, or hey, like I don't feel great, like how do I fix this? Everybody around me was like, oh no, that's just like how you are with a kid now. And I'm like, well, I'm only like 22 and I feel like shit, so sorry. But I was like, okay, well, how do I fix this or whatever? So I got a part-time job at a gym daycare and that way I could go to the gym for free. And I met like a bunch of people and I started like working out on a treadmill and people watching. And then like I just realized that like if I continue this, that like maybe like I could change. And then the people there were really nice and I'd never like been in a gym before. So it was kind of neat meeting all different people. But then I added just like water. I drank more water, still drank beer all the time when I was younger. I did. I drank so much beer when I was younger. And I just added water and I worked out and I blinked and I lost 30 pounds. And I was like, holy, like if I can do that all by like myself, like no trainer, no nothing, just like showing up and drinking water while still like drinking beer, then like what else can I do? And that really started when I was like 24. And so it kind of just perpetuated it. But that's like where it started. And I've just had a roller coaster of it ever since.
That is awesome. I mean, yeah, that discovery that I made with the drinking water was one thing that I personally was just like blown away by. But it's like you just need to drink more water, and that it really does just help with a lot of things. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, they don't advertise on that though. It's like you will be going to the bathroom constantly, and good luck trying to sleep. Good luck trying to get a proper night's sleep, without having to get up, 4 or 5 times. They should add that, like on the description, but unfortunately, that does not happen. But
No, they don't.
it is ridiculous. But I mean, when you were getting started with this, one of the biggest myths that we hear of all the time is that it's gotten better due to Instagram, but there's still so many women that have that fear that if they walk in the gym and even look at a dumbbell, they're going to put on 50 pounds of muscle overnight. Which, first of all, that would be my life stream, and I would spend my entire life savings to train with you then. But did you ever have that fear when you were getting started? And even if you didn't, I bet you still hear that all the time. How do you like to respond to that?
Yeah, I still do hear it all the time. I hear a lot of women are like scared of weight training. But so when I first started at the gym, I was really scared of that. I didn't understand. Again, I had no trainer, no like nobody to help me. And back then, like Instagram was still becoming like popular, so no videos to watch. But it was more like I just went on the weight floor to like hang out with people and I lifted weights, but I didn't lift like anything super heavy because I was scared of that. But after I started talking to people, and then you meet people and you meet trainers, and then you meet other women, and you meet women who have been doing it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. You meet, senior women who are like 60 years old, and they're like, absolutely not. Like, weightlifting saved my life. Weightlifting helps me. Like, weightlifting did this. And it's like, okay, well, if I weightlift, and obviously this person isn't like a ginormous human, then like it can be helpful. So I really like just try to explain to people now when I see them, like, do you think I'm big? And they're like, absolutely not. Like, you look great. Like, you look awesome or whatever. And I'll be like, I lift weights 5, 6 times a week. And I like really lift weights. So that's kind of how I combat it now.
Absolutely, yeah. I've always said the thing. It's like some of these purses that some of these women that I know that carry around. I mean, it's like you get more of a workout in that than most people do in the gym. Then, so I don't even know. And I was like, yeah, you're not even big carrying that thing around. But I mean, being a mom and being in this lifestyle, I mean, your time management needs to be insane. Basically, like it's ridiculous how much of a how much time this lifestyle requires, and it's so much more than just the working out. It's the meal prepping, it's the cardio, it's all the other little things. What is your time management like? Do you have any tips for people on how to not basically drive themselves crazy doing this?
I guess I have a couple. So for the meal prepping wise, I am very avid about meal prepping. I meal prep I would say 2 to 3 times a week because after so long, like some foods can go bad. And like if you don't want to eat it, then you'll like pitch them and then you won't eat them. But I have a very supportive spouse. Like my husband is very supportive of like what I want to do, how I want to do it. So he likes to grill and smoke. And again, we're in Kansas City. So like he'll smoke a bunch of chicken breasts for me. And so I'll use that like and I'll plan out 2 or 3 days of those chicken breasts. And then I'll have those compartmentalized separately. And then I'll cook a bunch of vegetables so I can eat them. And then anything that I call them my boys, my son and husband, anything like my boys can eat, like they'll have a pizza with broccoli. So um, really taking advantage of the people that support you, like your family and bringing like having time together, but also like supporting your goals. So that is a really good idea. And also, I will always preach to like be an early person as best as you can. Um, use like a lot of people go to work 8, 9, 10. You have to get ready by 7. But if you like wake up just slightly early and try to get a walk in, get a run in, stretch, yoga. If you can go to the gym, great. Like I would wake up early before the world wakes up, and it's so relaxing. Nobody to bother you, nobody to call you or email you. Like I'm self-employed, I run a business. So like nobody can bother me at like 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. So it's so nice. I can like have my coffee and I go to the gym, and that's how I would definitely take advantage of that. But really just preparing your week, preparing your days coming up is as best as you can is what I would recommend.
Which I mean, I've always, whenever people talk about how they like to organize everything, keep everything, I just want to take a photo of my desk behind what my laptop that I'm using right now, because I'm the exact opposite. We're literally I'm really go with the flow. Like if anything happens, it's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll do that. Where I'm lucky, like I said, I'm unmarried and I don't have a kid, so luckily I do have sort of that little bit more of a free time. But yeah, it's just, and it's funny when you said your husband grills and smokes. I thought literally he was just like smoking darts out back, like grilling grilling some hamburgers or hot dogs, and I was like, oh okay, no, he smokes the meat. So yeah, but yeah, my dad does that once a week too. That might even be tonight. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check with them and see what they're doing. But
It works out so well because like he'll smoke like I'll want chicken breast and I have like seasonings like chipotle chicken breast or I use ranch seasoning. But he'll like make bratwurst or ribs or whatever for him and our son. But again, also another thing, my son plays club soccer, so we are actually he's picking him up right now from soccer camp. So like we're constantly on the go with soccer too. So just trying your best to know your schedule. We have a
is your
pretty
son
like
on spring break right now?
yeah, but he's going to soccer camp for spring break.
He's one of those fun kids. Then I no, I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
he
Yeah,
is. He's
yeah.
one of that.
No, that's all. Yeah, that's awesome. No, because that's what I was wondering too. Because I saw like just driving around earlier today when I went to go get some groceries, I saw a lot of kids out, and I was like, "What's going on? Did like school just not happen?" And I was like, "Oh, it's probably spring break." It took me about 5 minutes to realize that, and I was even gonna go up to one of the kids and be like, "Why aren't you in school?" But then I was just yeah. So I figured that out, on my own, being the smart person that I am. But this lifestyle, I mean, it's so much more of a mental transformation than it is a physical transformation. And most people do not understand that mental transformation is 100 times more important than any physical change. But what has this journey been like for you mentally?
I'm so happy. um, well, another big hurdle that I really had to get over, which I don't think people talk about it that much. I see it more now, but really between 2017, so I've done bodybuilding competitions before for NPC. I've done 3 shows. I did it in 2016 and 17. And then in 2017, I got done with a show in Las Vegas and I went to my husband and I'm just like, I think we should have a baby. I think we should try to have a baby. My husband adopted my son. So He's his adopted dad. And I was like, why don't we grow our family? Let's have, a few more kids. And of course he was like, yay, let's do that. Um, it doesn't happen for us. So really between 2017, 18 and to like 2021, it was just like this mental struggle of my body's not doing what it's supposed to do and we're having such a hard time, but nothing's wrong with us. And I was so depressed. I lost myself, who I was. um my son kind of saw that. He just saw mom not being like her happy self for years. And like I think, a lot of women don't talk about that sometimes, how hard it can be to actually like want to get pregnant and try to get pregnant. And really, I feel like I took control of my life back last year of like, you know what? I really like eating healthy. As we like talked about nutrition, I actually like love it. Like I love it. I know. I I'm that person that can go to a restaurant. I actually did this the other day for my dad's birthday. I went to a restaurant and I did not like eat anything. I had no desire. I had coffee, but I just wanted myself back. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with the coach that I've listened to for a long time. I'm going to work with him. I'm going to get my mind right and my nutrition right and my body right. And it's just mentally so happy to be who you want to be. And now it actually is very emotional because my son will come to me and be like, mom, you're not like a lot of moms that I know, that I see. You're you, and I want to be me just like you're you. And it's like I inspire my little son. And, it mentally every single day. Yeah, it's like hard sometimes, of course, like it's lifting weights, eating nutritionally dense meals, drinking your gallon of water. It's hard, but like I'm I'm so happy to be able to do it and I love doing it and it makes me so happy.
Absolutely. And you talked about your family dinner. And when you first got started, what was your friends and family's reaction like when you announced them, like, hey, I'm getting in shape now and I want to give bodybuilding shows a try? What was their response to all that?
Ooh, so my family was kind of interested. They were really supportive, but like I come from a very Western diet family. So your box mac and cheese, your canned green beans, your box mashed potatoes. Um, my family also smokes a lot of cigarettes and drinks a lot of beer. So they thought I was crazy, but they're like, go you. Actually, they were more shocked like I didn't eat cheese anymore. That was like a really big one. But my friends, they were receptive to it, but they were just kind of shocked back then. I will say now, again, I'm 33. I have an amazing group of friends now. Like they want to come to my shows. They support me. I don't drink. I didn't drink before. I stopped drinking. I don't know, almost a year ago now. Um, but they're super supportive. My family thinks that they think I look cool. So they're kind of just like, they're supportive of it. They really are.
Well, and you mentioned to your nutrition that you enjoy doing, which I mean, I guess that's the way you got to view it if you do this sport, because like that's the only way I could have ever gotten through with it. But what is your favorite healthy food to eat?
Oh, like you have to be more specific. Do you want like protein or like
Well, I could just
vegetables?
do the thing like if you were told that you had to eat one thing for the rest of your life and you wanted to stay healthy, what would you do?
Ooh, okay, I can do that. So I would have my husband smoke my chicken breasts with the seasoning that I put together. I would. I have an air fry. I live by air
First of
frying.
all, what kind of seasoning do you use?
So I do a chipotle seasoning. I just pick a chipotle seasoning up, and then the ranch dressing, not the dressing, but the seasoning packet. I do that, and so it's like a spicy ranch. And he smokes that, and then I would air fry zucchini and squash, and then I would cut up red potatoes and do the ranch seasoning again on my potatoes. And then I use sugar-free ketchup, and I'd have chicken, potatoes, and zucchini squash. I could eat that. I'll eat that 6 times. Well, I'll give it obviously like fluctuate my potatoes, but like I'd eat that meal like nonstop.
I mean, like I used to be a huge chicken. I still eat chicken now, but what I do, it has to be almost burnt because I had one bad experience where I got food poisoning from undercooking some chicken. So now it's got to be like almost crisp, like it's got to be. But I do enjoy some chicken, every now and then. But yeah, that might be my healthy food too. That and just eat for the rest of the time. But it's interesting, just the nutrition habits that you develop when you get into this lifestyle. And you mentioned that you enjoy that, but did you always enjoy the nutritional changes that you made, or was it something that it took over time for you to realize, like, oh, hey, this is something that I actually enjoy?
Um, I think that I mentally let me see. So I would honestly think that like mentally when I first started, like when I first lost weight, like a giant like 30 pounds out of nowhere, it was not planned and everybody noticed. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I I knew mentally, I'm like, I'd go to McDonald's and get a mushroom Swiss burger. I love those burger. I don't even know if they still have them, but I like those. And I would eat it and I'd be like, sure, it tastes good, but like it sucks. Like it makes me like I'm not happy with my decision. That like would haunt me. And so I feel like I always knew I wasn't supposed to eat this way and I didn't like eating this way. I was just doing it because it's what everybody else did. And I feel like after I embraced that, then it became really easy. And that's the same thing with shows too. I feel like I go about it differently. Like I don't like I know how many weeks I have till a show because I'm supposed to from my coach, but I don't what is it? Like I don't over obsess over it. Like I love looking like this and eating like this. So my shows are a byproduct of how I live my life. So I don't think about like, oh my gosh, as soon as I walk off stage, I'm gonna eat, I don't know, like Oreos, Snickers, all that crap. Like I can't even like think like that because I don't even like that food. You know, it doesn't make me feel good. So I feel like over time I've embraced it.
I've I have had some experiences like that too. Like if I go on a big diet and then I eat something unhealthy for the first time, you kind of just like, I should be enjoying this and it does taste good, but it's like, you really know that it's not that good for you. But in that break that you took from bodybuilding, what was one thing that you missed about it, and what was one thing that you didn't miss about it,
Like missed about how I trained and everything.
or missed about just competing in general?
Oh, I just miss the feeling of like how I felt about myself. I missed like the break that I took was so like I lost so much self-worth in myself. Like I basically put all my self-worth, self-respect, self-esteem into this like I need to get pregnant because I want to get pregnant and I can't for whatever reason my body just doesn't want to do it. There's nothing wrong with either one of us. Just we can't it's just not happening. But like I was just so unhappy. Like I tell my husband now because now since I went back to how I have been and happy and I've lost I think it's funny because I have like to this day I've lost about like 33 pounds since then. But I tell him I'm like, it's not like I lost 33 pounds of fat or muscle weight, whatever. I've lost 33 pounds of depression. Like it's just that's what I missed from it. And then of course like what I didn't miss was like I mean it's super easy to like stay up really late and watch a movie and like eat popcorn. I miss eating popcorn. There we go. I do. I love eating. I have a day marked on my calendar for the Jurassic World 3 movie to come out because I love dinosaurs and I'm gonna eat popcorn and watch that movie. But
What a great life you live that you have it marked down when you can finally eat popcorn for a time.
I have it
No,
marked down for the movie, not
okay,
the
okay,
popcorn. But I was
okay.
just thinking,
I thought it was like a movie and popcorn kind of thing where you're just like, okay, this is the one day that because yeah, I love popcorn too myself, and yeah, like once a month I'll try to go see a movie or and have some popcorn. But yeah, I when I was a kid, we would just get so much popcorn that like it would be like every other night I would have just a bowl of pop. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, the overeating is just it like mentally is exhausting because then you're like I shouldn't eat that. I feel bad for eating that. Why did I do that? Definitely don't miss that. When I do eat something, it's such a reward or it's such like, that's fun. It's different. Like you don't need to eat dessert every single night.
Has your family learned as your career's gone on to sort of like, oh, Mandy's a couple weeks out, let's just kind of leave her be, and we'll lock ourselves in our rooms and don't disturb her or whatever like that? Do you ever get that sort of prep brain where you're just like, because I can't imagine going like I told you, I lasted 3 weeks into a 12-week prep, so I was like, I could not imagine what my mind would be like at like week 11 or 12.
I think not really. I mean, I think I'm 4 or 5 weeks out right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I yeah, April 16th. Like I'm blinking right now. It's
I would be at like the I'm gonna burn my house down phase if I was 4 to 5 weeks out, basically.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't. Jeez.
No, I woke up this morning. I already went to the gym. I did legs. I got my kid to soccer camp. Again, I run my own mortgaging processing business, and so like I already like worked on some loans this morning. So I like what it's. I really like the shows and getting all glammed up and having fun and dancing around on stage. It's that. It's having fun and showing off your hard work. And the nutrition and the workout for me is my life. Like it's a part of me. And the shows are, something I get to do because I like to live this way. So I mentally think about it a little different, I guess.
At least you got somewhat of a darker skin. I mean, this right here would take me about 10 layers to even get anything shown with that tan. Jesus, it's pure white. Like look at it's reflecting off of the light coming in from my window
You
right
are
there.
very pale.
God,
Yeah.
that's the Norwegian side of me where it's just like, yeah, it's not. So yeah, that's another reason why I was like, okay, yeah, I would the amount of tan that I would have to use is just ridiculous. But one thing that most people don't understand about bodybuilding and that a lot of these competitors struggle with is the posing aspect. And I would have never guessed it in a million years before I started doing this podcast. But what has your journey with posing been like?
I do have to ask you before I answer you. Did you, for your 3 weeks that you lasted, did you do posing? Or did you just do the diet? The
I did a little bit of posing. I don't want to talk about
You
it too much.
did? So like
I don't want to talk about it too much, but I did a little bit. This was when I was like 185 pounds of like pure muscle. I'm at 215 right now, but I'm also 6'3", so I'm still in shape. But like I was so in shape back, like that was when I was. But yeah, I did about a week of posing just because and plus being a gym bro, you'd always throw up like a flex or whatever like that every once in a while when you're in the gym. So
yeah.
but yeah, I did that, and that was another thing of my things too. I was like, yeah, I'm not holding this for a minute or whatever they had me do. It's like it's almost impossible. That's one thing that I realized too. It's like, yeah, this is super hard and it's not talked about as much as it should be.
Yeah, you are spot on. It is hard. Actually, that is my weakness. That is 100% my weakest part. Sounds really silly. I would rather diet and train. I would rather I would rather do push all of it out if I didn't have to be so perfect at posing. It's just hard. I playing soccer growing up. I never wore heels. I'm already 5'6", so I've never been one of those girls that wears heels. Like I'm lucky. I'm just now wearing like chunky boots. So I do. I actually am. I'm really religious about it now, just because I love my coach. I work with Coach Adam Bonilla with Team Elite Physique, and I really love him. I love his mind, like I really do. But I do check-ins with him. He critiques my posing really well. So he's just like, if you don't practice, I'm going to basically point out the fact you didn't practice whenever you send me your posing routine, and I'm going to rip you apart in a nice way. And so I'm like, I don't want him to do that. It's like accountability. So I practice on carpet, on hardwood, on linoleum. I practice in a suit. I practice in pajamas. But
What was that like adjusting with the heels though too? Because that's one thing where you were talking about you never wore them, and that's like I've always said that's the worst thing about the sport. It's like why do you have to wear the heels? I mean that's like that they're already dieted down enough as it is, and you're making them walk in heels. Come on.
you got to see that, lower. You got to see the hamstrings and the glutes.
Well, I'm a guy that's never had calves too, so it's like that wouldn't even help me wearing high heels. So
Right. Yeah, no, it was a huge adjustment. Like I will tell you, my very first time on stage, you're already nervous, you're already shaky. Those heels are 5 inches, so like it's just, it's hard. Like it, and then to hold it, you have like your back, like you just got to stand upright and like be so upright. So if you don't practice a lot, your back muscles like aren't as strong. So when you go to have to hold it for however long the judges want you to hold it, like it's gonna hurt and you're gonna give in and it's not gonna look as good. So I like even when I'm standing cooking or doing something, I'll still like try to like hold my back so it will just get used to it every day. Mhm.
yeah, that's a part of the lifestyle too that most people. I mean, like I've told numerous times though, when I mention that I have a lot of bodybuilders on, I get this reaction. Oh yeah, those are the people that just work out a lot and they go on stage and they pose, and it's like you got about 1% of it down. You got most of it. You don't have that there's just so much more of this sport, than that. But when you are walking on that stage, what is that moment like for you, knowing that, like you've worked your butt off and now you're finally able to show off all that hard work?
It's just so it just feels so good. It really does. Like I'm I'm excited to do it here in 4 or 5 weeks. Like it's fun. Like especially for I guess a girl, I want to say, just because you get your hair done, your makeup done, you have all this glitzy jewelry on. Like sure you're really nervous. But like I look at it as just like so much fun because really peak week, you're already done. Like you already did your work. Obviously don't kill how you're eating and whatever, but you already did a lot of work. So like enjoy it. Like don't stress out. If you stress out, you're going to mess with your hormones. If your hormones are fluctuating, then you're going to hold on to water and you might not look as good. So like just it feels amazing walking on stage and just being able to smile and enjoy and like be like, look at my hard work, you know. At least that's how I look at it.
Was it hard the first time to convince yourself to go on stage in a bikini, or were you just at the point in your prep where you're just like, you know what, let's just do it?
Oh, I was so nervous. No, I got my bikini, my first one. I would say like 4 weeks. It was a good amount of time, like 4 or 6 weeks before my show. And I got it. I got it in the mail, of course, and I like put it on, and I immediately like messaged my coach. And I have a different coach now, but this was back in 2016. But I immediately messaged her, and I was like, "This doesn't fit. Like this doesn't fit." She's like, "No, I promise it fits." I'm like, "I promise it doesn't. Like this is so tiny." And I have implants now, but before I was just flat as a board. But I was like, "There's no way. No, this does not fit." And I sent her a picture. She's like, "No, it's like how it's supposed to be." But when you're backstage and you see all the other girls, you're like, okay, like that's how their suit fits. That's how their like hooks and chains are. Like you kind of realize that. But I was so nervous my first time. I was mute. Like I'm a very animated, dramatic person. And my first time I wasn't mad. I wasn't cranky. I was just so nervous and scared. I was just like, where do I go? What do I do? What do I do? Like, yeah.
Well, I do have one question about implants though, because what is that?
Yeah.
How did that adjust your working out? Because I could not imagine, like, I think it would feel a little bit different for me if like you put like a like ball like I don't know, like balls whatever you use like in front of my chest and they're just like, yeah, go train now. I think it would just be hard to adjust. Was that an adjustment, like sort of just working out with them? And because I mean it's like they take up space. It's I don't I'm not a female, so I don't really
No,
understand that
you're
to
totally
begin
fine.
with. But like, how did you deal with that adjustment of like having that extra space or that extra not whatever? How did you deal with the
That
implants working
extra
out? Yeah,
thing on your
yeah, yeah,
body.
yeah.
So when I hit puberty, I always had like I was always curvy. And back in, that day and age, it wasn't great to be curvy. You wanted to be a size 0 or a double 0. But I was curvy. So after I had my son, again, I was very curvy. And sorry.
No problem.
After I had my son, I was still very curvy. So when I lost that 30 pounds, like when I first went to the gym, water, everything, it just like boom, I went from a D to a B. And I was like, oh, I immediately knew back then that I was like, I need to fix this right now. And of course, like I was younger, I couldn't fix it, after I mean, they're expensive. So I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm going to get these done. So I did my first show. I did my first 2 shows um, without implants. And I just like, it had nothing to do. And people think that all the time that girls get them because like their show or because they want to like stick out. It's like, at least me personally, like, no, like I wanted them forever. Anyways, when I first got them, I loved the doctor I went to. The doctor I went to, he's retired now here in Kansas City, but he had worked on bodybuilders already. So he already like did a really good
Oh,
job
I
like
mean
prepping me for
that's got to be like a fourth of their business basically as
it. Mhm.
bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get a doctor and then the doctor does a good job and that's like who you keep going back to. So when I first got him, I can't remember how long, it was 2017 I got him. And then I couldn't do any upper, I'm trying to remember, I couldn't do any upper body or anything for like a long time. And then I could walk and then I had to wear like a thing. But honestly, like after a year, I mean, even now, it's still like the best surgical decision I ever made. It just like made me feel back to myself and I loved them and it's just a part of me now. And I really feel like working out with them, after I got used to him and then my muscles got used to him, nah, it was totally fine.
I've always wanted that. Well, and then because I've seen some of those videos of like the ones that like they go like 10 different cups where like it's like that big and then they're working out and then I'm just like, okay, how do you even do that? So then it's like, yeah, it's just a whole different I mean,
I
but
don't know about that.
oh, well, I
I
bet it's like with a lot of things where it's like you just get used to them eventually, and then you're just like, oh yeah, it's a part of me. But I love to talk post show because it's one thing that's not talked about as much as it should be, and that a lot of people don't understand that that look that you present on stage is not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to look like that 24/7, unfortunately, and a lot of people struggle with that. First off, and how did you deal with that in the beginning of your career, and did it get easier for you to accept that as your career went on? That like, hey, this look that I present on stage, I'm not going to be able to maintain it.
I would say I definitely I think everybody struggles with it. That's actually one of my goals this year is to really mentally prepare for that. I know my stage weight and how I look on stage, that's not sustainable. But I also understand that as you continue your career in bodybuilding, that it's good to build on your body. So like as you get your judges feedback back, like what do you need to improve on? Do you need time off? Do you just need to practice your posing? Are you doing another show soon? So I think that matters. But when I first did it, oh, it was terrible. Like I did a show, I had no idea what to do after I got off stage. So I actually read an article that talked about how when you walk off stage, from the second you walk off stage to when you hit the auditorium doors or wherever you're at, you actually consume more calories in that walk because all the treats that are at the shows, people bring baked goods, protein goods, cakes, everything. Like they'll be backstage. Like you'll have cakes backstage that before you hit the auditorium doors, you eat so many calories that you eat more calories in that walk than the whole month that you just like, or the 4 weeks you had left of your prep. But no, I definitely struggled with that. I did not know how to reverse diet. I did not know, I didn't have an expectation. So that mentally wore on me. But when I learned, like, okay, this is not about just the show. It's about like, how do you want to eat? How do you want to feel? Like, be prepared if you eat this, like, you're going to maybe get sick. You're going to have a bellyache. So this next show, I'm like trying to prepare for it, but then I'm like, you know what? No, just like be done and go take a shower when you're done. Get that spray tan off.
Well, you mentioned all the food that you had after. What is your go-to food after a show?
Um, to be honest, I haven't really thought of it
If
too
you say
much yet.
salad, I'm gonna come down there and strangle you.
And no, I won't salad. Honestly, like if I had to pick something like right now, it would be a burger fries. Like I would probably go, but see, my thing is like I really care about like how it's made. So I try to find like a really authentic burger, like like a place that's known for their burgers because they make it like blah blah blah. And then like I probably get like a really big one and split it with my husband and have fries.
Yeah, there's a meat market in Nicollet. It's a small city of like 1,000 people down in southern Minnesota. It's about an hour drive from where I live. They win awards in Germany for their meat, which is pretty. It's it's legit if they win those awards. So like literally, they have like beef sticks. They have every kind of meat. It is literally like how I'd imagine crack cocaine would be. Like it is. It's ridiculous. Where we go down there, we went to go see a hockey game a couple weeks ago, and we stopped down there before we went to the game, and it was I mean, it's like, yeah, $110 later, but you're like, it's all worth it because it's just, yeah, it is just ridiculous. But yeah, for me, yeah, a good burger, you can never, I always judge a place on whether its burger is good or not. That's how I judge a restaurant. That's my opinion, at least. But now we go to, my least favorite part of probably of living is cardio, where I mean, I hate it more than life itself. And when I say cardio, I mean actual running. I mean, I could walk for forever. We have some nature parks around here now that hopefully it'll get warmer in the coming months. I always like to take some walks around there, but I know you were a soccer player, so unfortunately, cardio was probably a part of your life growing up. But what is your relationship with cardio like now?
I don't mind it. It's fine. Like I really just chalk it up to like that's something you have to do. But I do now the past year. The neighborhood that I live in, I have a group of friends and they like to walk. They like to walk around. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll walk with you. And like yesterday was 70 degrees here in Kansas City. And so we went on a walk. I did like my normal cardio. I do right now, I'm just doing an incline walk at the gym and weightlifting. But I was all done. But my friends were like, oh, let's go on a walk. So we went on a walk. I went on a 4 mile walk. And I was like, I can't even believe this was 4 miles. We just like, yeah. So, I mean, cardio is just a part of it. I mean, it really is. I really love how I train, to be honest. I've trained before where I do a lot of hit workouts that are exhausting on top of cardio. And it was so depleting and it was very hard, but I did it because, what I was told to do. And then now I love it. I do so much weightlifting and I grow in my weights and I do the cardio that I'm supposed to, but I really enjoy it and cardio is just a part of it.
I'm sorry, this is a tangent here, but has anyone ever told you you look like Anna de Armas, that actress that's in the movies?
Hmm,
No one's ever told you that?
no.
I was literally gonna take a snapshot of you and send it to my friend and be like, "Hey, I had Anna de Armas on my celebrity podcast just to play
Which
a
show
prank
is
on him."
she on?
She's well, they have a new one with Ben Affleck coming out tonight, but she's in she's like she was the new up and coming. I'll have to send you a photo of her after this because it's
Okay, yeah.
but yeah,
I want to see her now.
I totally got that vibe talking to you, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be able to play a prank on my friend saying that I had that actress on the podcast and send her a photo of you and be
You
like,
can
yeah,
still play it. You
yeah,
can still play the play.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, but I mean, yeah, cardio for me, yeah, it's one of those things where you have to do it, and unfortunately, it is good for your health, and I say that unfortunately as a little, but it's good for you, so you have to do it. But now, the number one thing that's the most important thing in this lifestyle, and I don't care what anyone says, is sleep. And if anyone disagrees with me on that, I tell them go pull an all nighter and work out and tell me how that goes. Sleep is
Yeah.
just so undervalued for a lot of people in life, but what does your sleep look like? Because as you get closer to your prep, I mean, your sleep schedule can become pretty bipolar.
Yeah. I've definitely gone through that where sleep is very hard. It's hard to fall asleep. Like once I fall asleep, I'm asleep and it's fine. But I've gone through the stages where it is very difficult to fall asleep. I will say now, I actually started the past about 2 months. I had well, a few months ago now, I had a supplement company reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, like, would you mind trying some of our supplements?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine, that's okay." And I actually really loved them and I partnered with them because I liked everything they sent me. And one of the things they sent me was a sleep aid, and it was just a lot of herbs and I can't remember right now, but it was a sleep aid, which I can send it to you. But it actually has helped me. Like it doesn't knock me out like you're taking like Benadryl or NyQuil or anything like that, but it just melatonin. You take melatonin.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's like one. Of course, that's one of the ingredients, and several things in there. But I take that when I go to bed, and it kind of just helps me like coast to sleep. But I'm a very routine person, so I think that helps too. Like I go to bed really around 10ish, I would say. And then like I have a lot of rescue animals, so I feel like that they sleep in our room and we have like our own routine and I'm okay with it. I get plenty of sleep, but I've definitely been on the other side where it is tricky and I melatonin or something to like help because your mind will just not shut off. Your mind will just keep playing.
Yeah, I'm 27, and until I was about 26, I was living that, like 4 a.m. to noon lifestyle, sleep wise. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was why I always used to work nights too, and just being young and everything like that. Yeah, it would be so funny. Yeah, like all my friends that had day jobs would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to bed now," and I was like, "Really? I've only been up for like 7 or 8 hours, really." So, but yeah, I've been getting used to this new sleep schedule, and plus, daylight savings time always messes me up every year, no matter what. It's
Hmm.
ridiculous. Have you struggled with that at all since we've been, like what, 5 days removed from that? And because
Yes.
yeah, especially having it during your prep, and that must suck.
Yeah, I didn't think I would have such a problem with it, but I hate it. Like I don't like I am one of those people that usually can just be like, "Oh, that's just a part of life," and like you got to deal. But like, no, it really messed with me. Like my son had soccer games. I like to wake up at a certain time, have a cup of coffee or two, then go to the gym. But it just like really chunked with everything. So no, I it really messed with me. Like it messed with my gym time. Like when I wake up, it messed with my animals, and I was not loving it at all.
I remember just the first few days, it's always like, wow, it's really 7 o'clock already. It doesn't feel like, and then yeah, don't even get me started on that. But if someone were to walk up to you and say, Mandy, we made the decision, you can change one thing about, the health and fitness lifestyle, or just bodybuilding in general, and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing you'd like to see changed?
Uh, I wouldn't change anything with the sport of bodybuilding. I would change. I do not like how our country manufactures and basically pushes food on people without giving them knowledge. It is sickening to me because other countries have so many laws and regulations. Actually, Mexico last year just passed a law to where they won't put cartoon characters on like potato chips because they're so unhealthy. They shouldn't be marketing to kids. And so they took all the cartoon characters off it. Like our country is the complete opposite of all of that. And that's just what it is. We're a capitalistic country and it is what it is. But like if I could change anything, I would make it to where labels, food labels, and like the industry actually has to tell you, I know we're saying this, but what we're really telling you is there's 12 different types of sugar in here, not one.
I remember the first time I ordered European beer and I tasted it, and first of all, it's like their beer there is like so low on calories and low on fat, and it tastes so much better too. But like that's a reason why there's not that many obese people in Europe now because a lot of the stuff that they do and drink is. But yeah, it's just when you do look at the stuff that we have here, and like I always like to tell some of my European guests that I have on, it's like go to Smashburger where their burgers are so big that like they're literally off the plate or they're literally touching the plate basically because they're just yeah the proportions that we have here are just absolutely ridiculous. But
Well, that and I just wanted to add, like, I actually was listening to a podcast a while ago of a woman who is a bodybuilder. She's a professional bodybuilder. Um, she lived in Sweden, and to pursue her career, she moved here to America, ate the whole chicken, broccoli, rice, whatever. Moved here, still ate chicken, broccoli, rice, and she gained 10 pounds because of what we put in our protein. It's just and we just don't like I wish the companies were forced like they had to tell us, At least people give them the knowledge.
well, like that meat market I was telling you about, one of the reasons why it tastes so good is that they don't do any of that. They don't put it. They like get it like straight from the farmers. Basically, they get their meat and stuff like that. So it's
Oh,
all
cool.
yeah. So that's all legit. I mean, there is such a huge difference in taste. Like it's yeah, it is ridiculous. But I mean, you're not the average looking 33-year-old woman. I always like to add that with the guests I have on. What is that? I mean, and sort of when you walk out in public, especially as you get close to your show, I mean, you are going to draw people's attention just because it's human nature when they see something that's not of the normal to just be like, oh, wow, that's interesting. What has that been like just for you? And I mean, just as your career's gone on too, has it gotten easier for you to accept the fact that like, hey, you are going to draw more people's attention normally?
I've embraced that a long time ago because of how I dress and how I do. I love crop tops. I have stretch marks. I love like they're a part of me. I don't hide them. I like low cut shirts. Like so, I've always kind of done that. But it is funny now. Like my son will be 13 in August. So when I do say like, oh, I have a teenager, that's a new one. That's people are like, no, you don't. Like you're 20, 26 or 7.
I'm
I'm
not going
like,
to lie. When I saw your page and I saw that you had a son, I was like, was she like 10 when she gave birth or something like that? Like, what's going on?
yeah. That one has been a new one, and it happens a lot at the gym. I'll say something that's like my age. Like I'll see somebody's shoes, and I'm like, "Oh, I bought those for my son," and they're like, "Your son? Like, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my son will be, he'll be 13 here in August." And they're
You
like,
kind soul, you adopted at 22. Good for you.
"Yeah." So no, I just always embraced it. I mean, be who you want to be who you feel you are inside, and people are gonna look at you, people are gonna judge you, and that's just a part of life. You're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea.
See, one of the reasons why I never really go sleeveless on this podcast is because I have stretch marks on my arms, like right here,
Oh yeah.
on both sides. I can't even do a front double bi without seeing like so it's I don't know how they came to that part of it, but no other part of my body do I have stretch marks at all because like I think it was just because I got so because like I was a twig when I first started. Really, I was that baseball pitcher body where you're just really skinny and really tall. So like I put
Mhm.
on so much I think so fast that like my body just couldn't really deal with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So yeah, when you say stretch marks, I was like, oh yep, that brings back. Yep. So then there's that. But I mean, when we do talk to you a year from now, because I'd love to have you on again because you were just a great guest. Where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding? What are some goals that you have for this year?
Um, I have quite a few. I'm a big goal setter. So I'm competing this April, May, and August. So really, I would love to be back on in like August and see kind of where I'm at. That's really it. Like, my business takes up a lot of my time. My husband that too, and so my husband's a mortgage broker and I'm a mortgage processor, and so we both like have our own businesses. So we focus a lot on that. So we have that, and we have bodybuilding and soccer, lots of soccer. So I really
Is the mortgage business going good now? Because I've heard a lot of people saying like with housing and stuff like that, it's completely just crazy with a lot. I know a lot of realtor friends that are just talking, but like with mortgages, is it kind of going insane, kind of like the housing market was too?
So it's really interesting because it's always going to be dependent on who you talk to. So you talk to some real estate agents and they're drowning, they have no business. Where you talk to some and they're buying investment properties. It's the same with mortgages. We're doing good. I'm actually very happy with how we're doing. We do our own brokerage. So my husband, he's licensed in 7 different states. So he's the loan officer. He's who you talk to, get everything set up. And then he finds you the best rate or closing, really whatever you're looking for. Second home, investment property, commercial property. And then once he gets everything locked in and everything that you're looking for, then I come in and I help put everything in a pretty little box and get you to closing. So, but no, for us it's been really good. I've actually been really happy. I of course was really scared. It's always scared to go out on your own. Like it really was, especially like right before Christmas. So it's been great though. I've really enjoyed it and I like it. I mean, we have a lot of realtor referral partners and people that like how we do business. So like it's been good.
Absolutely, yeah, and that is great. And I mean, this is a sport that's so understood to or so misunderstood by the general public just because I mean, it's not represented as much as it should be. I've always said they should bring it back onto ESPN like it used to be, but now there's cornhole for God's sakes because, God forbid they show a sport that you play when you're drunk on the 4th of July or Memorial Day and you play it outside outdoors, it's
It's because they can advertise McDonald's.
I
You
want
can't
that.
advertise McDonald's on bodybuilding
Well,
shows.
you could have the winner be like, "I'm going to Disneyland, and take like a bite of a Big Mac or something like that." That would be probably some way they try to spin it. But what is one thing that you wish the general public would understand more about the sport of bodybuilding?
That it's healthy. That's a big, I mean, of course you get into, PEDs or whatever, that's totally different. But our social norm now is to, I don't want to, like, it's hard to say because our social norm now is to like go to McDonald's 3 or 4 times a week, go to fast food 3 or 4 times a week, go to restaurants 2 times a week, frappuccinos, like these things are very socially normal that when I say I don't eat that or I don't want that or I look a certain way, I'm unhealthy. But I'm eating however many thousands of calories or hundreds of thousands, whatever, of calories of vegetables, food that like the earth gave me or like clean proteins that aren't deep fried and but like I'm unhealthy. I wish that was more understood.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be definitely a huge one for me. And well, lastly, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to before we wrap things up here?
My coach, I love my coach. My team, I really do. I love how he coaches. I love all the free information he gives out there on his Instagram Reels, YouTube, podcast, just like this. Like it helped me before I even really came to fruition that I'm like, you know what, I need to like do me again. So really, Adam Bonilla with Team Elite Physique. I love him.
I've always told people if you want to get started in this lifestyle, get a coach. That's the most important thing. I've heard too many of those sob stories of people who never got a coach and they go to their first show and it's just like this could have been so much easier. But yeah, and again, everyone go and give Mandy a follow. I'll leave a link to her Instagram page down below. And again, we cannot wish you nothing more than the best. But thank you so much again for coming on and sharing your story. It was an absolute delight to talk to you.
No, thank you for having me. This was really great. I can't wait to do this again and, hopefully the fall and
Yeah.
see where we're at.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I cannot wait for that too as well. And again, you guys go and give her a follow. And this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.